You might be familiar with Valve because they sell games on Steam, but now they're trying to break into the hardware market with the Steam Deck. So basically what's being said on the internet right now, the entire ethos around this thing is that it's what the Switch Pro should have been. And I don't know if that's how I feel about it. So today I wanted to share my thoughts on Steam Deck and if I think it's actually trying to compete with the Nintendo Switch, and also who is this thing for? Because honestly, at first glance, it just sounds like something for PC players to use while they also already have their PCs at home. And if you're new here, my name is Dan. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about video games that are good, bad, ugly, you name it, that's what we talk about. And today we're talking about the Steam Deck and if it really is competing with the Nintendo Switch, at least in my opinion. So at first glance, I was actually pretty impressed with this thing. It looks really nice. I'm not going to get into details and specifics about what actually makes it tick because I really don't feel like spending my time doing that. The price tag can vary pretty quickly. It starts at $400 with the base level 64 gigabyte storage. Then you jump up to $530 with 256 gigabytes of storage, and that comes with a carrying case and all this stuff you can add to it. And then it goes all the way up to $650. So that's the most you'll pay for this thing. And I think you can actually add your own kind of SSD into it if you want to. Don't quote me on this. I'm not here to give you a tech breakdown. There are other videos that can do that for you. So I keep comparing the Steam Deck to the Switch, and I'm also trying to tell you that I don't think they're competing for the same market, but I should talk about why I think folks think the Steam Deck is a replacement for the Switch. Recently, Nintendo announced a very lateral upgrade for the Switch called the Nintendo Switch OLED, and all it really is a slightly fancier screen and a slightly bigger screen. And after months and months of build-up that people were thinking it was going to be a fancy, brand new, high-tech, high-fidelity Switch, and no matter how you cut it, you have to admit that the Nintendo Switch OLED really is just that. It's a lateral upgrade, and it's only there for people who don't have a Switch. I might get one, but not anytime soon. I'm really not looking to replace my Switch right now, especially with a console that's only barely better for $50 more. So in rolls the Steam Deck with a basically home computer in your hands, and you can play Control, which is a very high fidelity game, and you can also dock it to a monitor and play this game wherever you go. So this is essentially a PC Switch. It is essentially a computer that also docks to monitors quite easily. So at first glance, yeah, this thing is totally competing with the Switch, at least on a hardware level. It's trying to do everything that a Nintendo Switch does, except with PC games and also at a much higher level. But my biggest issue with that mindset that the Switch and the Steam Deck are competing is that I think that Nintendo serves a much different fan base than Steam's fan base. Of course, they're all gamers, and I don't disagree with that, and I'm sure that a lot of people who love the Nintendo Switch have a very large Steam library. But I don't think that this is going for the more casual player and the more toned down player who just wants to play Animal Crossing or Mario sometimes. I think the Steam Deck is for the hardcore gamer on the go. Nintendo's got their own version of the hardcore audience, people who are really into their games and also really good at Smash Brothers, but I don't think that that's exactly the kind of person who's just gonna jump ship from Nintendo and go to play the Steam Deck for their full-time console. This isn't to say that there won't be a lot of carryover between Steam Deck players and Switch players, but I just think that there's the Nintendo hardcore audience who want to play for Zelda and Mario and Smash Brothers, and then there's people who just want to play really high-def games on the go, and that's where you get your Steam Deck players. So by no means do I think that the Steam Deck's really going to hurt Nintendo in that way. I don't think it's really going to do anything to their community. I just think that it's going to be doing on a hardware level what the Switch does at a much higher fidelity. I mean, if you look at the dock that this thing comes with, it's got 3 USB ports, an Ethernet port, a USB-C port, HDMI, a digital out port, and also an audio port for headphones. This thing is stacked. It's completely absurd. I think it's going to sell really well at that $400 price point for the people who really want one, but the point is that the reason this comes off as a Switch competitor is because it is doing all of the things that everyone daydreamed about when they thought about what would a Switch Pro be. This is that console. I mean, it's also got touchpads for mouse use and all of these other crazy gadgets, but lo and behold, here it is, the Switch Pro that everyone had dreamt up. Valve has just been working on it for the last couple of years. Probably more than that. But anyway, one thing I'm curious about with this console is where the buttons are placed. I'm largely a controller player, so if I do get this console, I'm probably going to play a lot of controller games. I don't really want to mess with that mouse pad out of the gate. And I'm noticing the buttons are way up there, like really high up there. Like I'd have to use my thumb flat and upwards, and that just seems uncomfortable to look at, but maybe it's better in practice. I'm not going to make a huge judgment on that until I actually try the thing, but I am curious to see how it actually feels. Like, is it going to be this wide, goofy tablet, or is it actually going to be a comfortable console? I think the Nintendo Switch is like the largest I would ever go for a portable console. I mean, I was in love with the 3DS XL for a portable console size, so the Switch was already a big jump for me. And this is just going even bigger. It's kind of like cell phones. Like Apple's starting to downsize their phones a little more and starting to stop at that X12 Pro size. So I think technology coming down in size is sort of a good thing. So we'll see if this actually holds up to my annoying standard of, is it too wide? On the other hand, it does look like it has back paddles, which I really would like on more controllers. I'm surprised that's not a normal. And it also looks like it has a grip, which is great. So it looks good. I'm just not thinking it's competing with Nintendo's audience in any way. That being said, there are many fans of Nintendo who are just dying for a new Switch, and I know that some people aren't really expecting one at this point. I mean, we got the OLED model, and I don't think they're going to do anything like this. They're not competing for that audience. They're not competing for the teraflops and the gigabits and all that stuff. They've got Mario, you know, and like it or not, that's Nintendo's outlook on their business. They have the games that people want, and that's what's going to sell their consoles and their hardware, and no one can fault them on that. However, I do have a theory on who the best customer base is for the Steam Deck. I just finished upgrading my computer to a somewhat modern standard. I don't have a new graphics card at all because that is a whole other can of worms, but my computer only just got upgraded. I was using a computer I built from 2015 up until now, so it was due, and it cost me about $530 just to upgrade everything but the video card. So I spent that money to be able to play games on my computer again at a high level. Of course, I use my PC for other stuff like making content, but the point is, if I wanted a new gaming rig, I could have spent the $530 to get started or the $400 to have the Steam Deck. I personally don't love having to be in front of a computer all the time for my hobby, for my work, and also for my fun. So to have the option to take a PC game and sit on the couch and hang out sounds really nice. And it also sounds like what the Steam Deck is selling. So what I'm saying is that I think the Steam Deck is for people who don't want to get into the mess that is buying a brand new PC just to play some Steam games and then put it back down. Given the way the hardware market is right now, I mean, this thing also had a really bumpy reservation launch, but it's hard to get consoles and it's also hard to get video cards and all these things that you would need to play video games at a high level. So $400 is a really nice entry point for that higher level set of gameplay, but of course at that point, if you break off $100, you're getting the Xbox Series S, which again isn't like the top tier, but you can get an Xbox for cheaper, you can get a PlayStation for this price. So trying to make PC gaming a home console venture, I think is a very noble effort. I think Steam could do it. Valve hasn't had the best luck with hardware in the past, so it's anyone's guess to see if this is the one that really takes off for them. So what do you think? Are you gonna buy a Steam Deck? Is this the kind of price you wanna pay for a console to play some PC games on at home? Let me know in the comments. I'm excited to talk about this one. I think that this is actually gonna have some legs when it comes out, so I am excited to see what you guys think. So if you like this video, do me a favor and like it. If you really like this video, just share it with a friend, somebody who might be thinking about all these new consoles, how to make sense of it. We can at least start here where we're thinking about the Steam Deck. Thank you very much for watching and hearing me out on the Steam Deck. I will see you in the next video.